Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Bookerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday, as we're going to have plenty to discuss today. Not only are we going to get into the latest injury report for Arkansas, which is something of significance, at least this time around. We'll talk about that. We'll also give you the latest in the Razorback head coaching search, some intel, if you would. Also making the case for Alex Golesh. We're going to continue our series on that today. Getting some Razorback basketball, also some baseball news that still continues on. We'll have our heavy hitters and, of course, get to the chat with all of your great comments. But, fellas, it's a Thursday. It was good seeing y'all yesterday in person, but how are the vibes here this afternoon?
Free Chauncey. Free Scary Terry. This creates an outrage, man. What are we doing here? I'm fired up over all this. Let them boys gamble with the Sopranos or whatever it is they're doing. No, I'm doing good, man. I'm hanging in there. Had a good time. It was good kicking it with you guys. And on Quinn's Day yesterday, and looking forward to the next couple of days here. We got Arkansas basketball tomorrow, man. I'm vibing.
You think that guy from the sporting goods store in Sopranos was at the same game as Chauncey Billups, the guy that needed to pay off all his debts?
100%.
Yeah. No, I'm feeling great. As you guys know, Thursday, most underrated day of the week. It's hard to knock my vibes down on a Thursday, and I'm definitely not going to be sad on Alex Golesh Day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, there's was it okay? Who's the chatter that loves Alex Golesh?
OKC.
OKC. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you better be in for this one there, OKC, because we're not doing this one again. This is your one shot for Alex Golesh. But yeah, we will get into that. And yeah, it was good hanging out last night. And yeah, when I saw, it's funny you mentioned the Sopranos. That was the first thing I thought of too, is the guy in the sporting goods store. I was just like, they got to go find him, man. Got to go make it happen. But what a wild story that is. That I'll be interested to see how it all plays out. But you know what? We may get into some heavy hitters and make that be a part of our heavy hitter segment. What's going on? But either way, yeah, like Razorback football, we know it's in a couple days. Gonna have Razorback basketball tomorrow, which looking forward to that. Getting to see some real action that is going to mean so much in the grand scheme of this season. Every single minute played is going to really pan out. So it's going to be a great Razorback weekend. Hopefully the rain isn't too bad. It looks like it's going to rain all day tomorrow. We'll see about Saturday, but either way, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And we'll do the coaching search. But I did want to bring up, of course, when we mentioned the injury report came out last night, we were all hanging out in a local establishment. But here's the injury report for Arkansas and Auburn. You know, nothing too crazy other than the fact that, oh yeah, by the way, Cam Ball is out for this game. Razorback defensive tackle, team captain, not questionable, guys, not probable, out of this game.
That is brutal, boys. I mean, he is the lone SEC caliber interior defensive lineman that you have on this roster. I mean, no disrespect to the other guys, but they weren't when they got here, and they haven't been this season. Like, this hasn't been an SEC caliber defense. Cam Ball is kind of that guy. And it's not like he's just been lighting the world on fire, but good grief, man. Like, you're down Saili and Oki last week, and we saw what that meant with some of the personnel that they had to use. You probably, because he's probable, get Saili back. But that is a downgrade from Cam Ball. And so now it's like your starting group is going to be, depleted. Your depth is depleted. It's going to be rough sledding for Arkansas defensive tackle. I don't know what they do. Like, do you start Justice Boone in there and like rotate three? I don't know, but this sucks, man, because it's kind of a must win. Well, I mean, obviously situation for, Petrino and these guys. It's your best opportunity. And the pathway for Auburn is probably running the football. It gets easier for them. Although I do acknowledge that Auburn is starting a 17-year-old true freshman center in this game. So I don't know, man, but that's tough being without Cam Ball.
Yeah, well, I see Danny Saili, by the way, listed as probable, which is good news. Although I think it's trending towards him playing, which is good, and we knew that anyway. I assume he starts in there next to Ian Gerard if he's good to go and if he's healthy and available, which it seems like he will be. Outside of that, I mean, Keyshawn Blackstock, maybe. We've seen him get some snaps here and there, about 30, 40 for the season. He's probably going to have to play some snaps. We mentioned some of the freshmen, Kevin Otis, Reginald Vaughn. Those guys might have to get in some reps.
Pulley.
We've seen Caleb James, by the way. He's been playing. I guess he's been playing a little bit on the end, but they're just going to get as many guys as they can to just give them snaps. But it's going to be a lot of guys that have not been playing a lot, let alone in the SEC. Yeah, it's rough, man. It reminds me of the 2020 game when they played against LSU, and it was during COVID. And I think Arkansas had like 3 scholarship defensive linemen ready for the game. They end up playing like multiple guys that were walk-ons. Maybe we see something like that, but it's fascinating because I look at literally every other part of this matchup, and I'm like, man, this is something that could be ideal for Arkansas. This could be an offense that won't really threaten them that much. Like, man, this is good. This should be the time Arkansas should get their win. But I think it is possible. We look up at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, and we're like, oh yeah, of course they didn't win because they had 2 defensive linemen.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you right now, if Keyshawn Blackstock gets in there and gets a sack on Jackson Arnold, Arkansas is winning by 30. Like that's the type of thing it's going to be. But yeah, I'm wondering too, and I guess we are officially done with the media availability of Bobby Petrino and whoever. I know he's at the Catfish Hole last night, but makes me wonder, was the Cam Ball injury, was it a practice injury? Was something happened in the game we just didn't know about? Because as far as I know, guys, and maybe you've seen differently, but this was such a shock where like no one heard anything about being banged up at all, even for Cam Ball. So it just makes me wonder when the injury happened that took him out of this game.
There ain't no telling. It might be wear and tear, man. I don't know. Dude's played a ton of snaps this season, and he's been injured. You know, he had was it elbow surgery or shoulder? What do you have?
Yeah, missed all of spring with elbow surgery.
Elbow surgery, and then he hurt his shoulder in camp is what it was. He had the AC joint thing going on. So he's been banged up, and then, man, you play every single snap at that position, it's eventually going to get to you. I don't recall a play during the game against Texas A&M where he got up slow or left gingerly or came out of the game or anything like that. But, you probably wake up the next day feeling some type of way. I hope it wasn't something that happened during practice. I know they've been a little bit more physical, but for a guy like Cam Ball, at his position with the issues you have with depth, I wouldn't even be letting that dude practice anyway too much, if I'm being honest with you. But regardless of the circumstances around it, I mean, you hope you get him back next week because you're going to have him for some of these other games, man. But yeah, that's a tough beat. There's a small handful of guys you just can't afford to be without on this Razorback football team. And I would say he's probably on that list.
Yeah. And also I'm wondering too, just, it doesn't matter, but like Zach Taylor being questionable, like, okay. I don't know if he's going to play or if he wasn't going to play, but I'm always curious about names that they do or don't mention or where they put him at, whether it's questionable or not. But I know that when we were at that local establishment last night, we saw this. I had to read it 4 times to make sure that, I wasn't tripping. It was like, wait, Cameron Ball, not his brother, some other Ball brother. Nope. It is Cam Ball. So yeah, that's a pretty brutal thing. And I know I tweeted out and everyone was like, well, defense has sucked, so it's not like that big of a blow. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So it's like, I get that, the defense overall hasn't been great, but I don't know. I still feel like losing, even if the defensive line isn't great, losing one of your best defensive linemen and starters and captains and experienced guys is not a good thing. Like you guys mentioned, who they're going to throw in there. Time will tell, but in a very important game against an Auburn offense that's struggling, personally, I'd like to have all the great defensive players, or at least the best defensive players you have on the field being available.
Yeah, Curtis, I also think I go back to with Cam Ball. I'm like, I wonder if he ever was healthy, especially because, not that he's been like a guy that's been a world beater throughout his career, but if you look at his production and look at his grades on PFF, like this is the worst year of his career, basically. Like this is the worst he's played as a Razorback. And coming into the year, he was like the guy that we needed to not only be healthy and available, needed to be an all SEC guy. So I wonder all year how much he's been just powering through just to make it work for his team, knowing how valuable he is. But I did some quick numbers real quick and looked at all of the combined career stats for all the other guys that'll be playing defensive tackle in this game. And I've got 15 tackles, 3 total for loss. That's for every single other defensive tackle that is going to play in this game. All of them career stats combined. And Reginald Vaughn did actually contribute to this because he has a tackle for loss this year. So good for him.
Wow. That's wow. I could have done without that stat. I'm not going to lie, but that's good stuff right there, man. Holy cow. Dang.
And by the way, Ian Gerard, who we've been very critical of, he accounts for like 90% of that because
I was about to say
he's got like 10 tackles this year and a couple for loss.
Ooh, buddy.
That's rough. That's rough.
So now what?
Well, it was funny too because I saw someone in the chat ask me like, "Hey, with the Cam Ball news, has the line moved on Saracen?" It's like, no, like still pretty much the same. Sitting at with Arkansas being a point favorite, so -1 where it's at right now. But,
wait, Arkansas favored by 1?
Yeah.
So then that is movement then.
Well, I thought last night when we were talking, maybe I'm. Again,
I didn't look at it last night. I guess it's moved throughout the week, so it's actually moving in Arkansas's favor.
Correct.
I saw him 2-point favorites somewhere yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought, and then
we talked about this earlier in the week. We kind of expected that it might move in Arkansas's direction, but to answer the question about Cam Ball, no, he does not move the line because, in fact, it's going towards Arkansas. But it wasn't much separation. I mean, it's going to end up probably being around to pick them.
Right, and I know we were talking about like what the heck happened here? When did this happen? And I saw somebody in the chat, I've already lost it, but said, why are we just assuming it's an injury? And that's, it's fair in some case because it's like the availability report, not the injury report. Unless he has something going on like family related or he had to step away or whatever. It would have to be an injury. Like Cam Ball is not the type of guy who's getting suspended for violation for team rules or something. That's all I'm saying about that.
Also, you know what I mean? Now, was that the first availability report of the week?
Yeah.
So it could have happened any day this week, right?
Yeah. So, but that's the thing is like there's a lot of reasons that could be around, but that's where it is the timing of it all again, because of now no one gets to hear from Petrino again. So they can't ask him, be like, hey, what happened here? We'll just not know. Maybe after the game.
All we heard on Monday was that Saili and David Oki were at team stretch. We didn't hear anything about Cam Ball. So
yeah, it's like going to be the thing is like, why didn't you tell us about Cam Ball? You didn't ask.
Yep.
So that's now Petrino's probably taking it. So, but we'll also get into some great intel here about the Razorback coaching search here in a second. But I want to remind everybody of one of our new sponsors here on Inside Arkansas, of course, is our friends of Blue Ember Smokehouse. They have locations across the entire state of Arkansas, whether it's Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Rogers. They are blowing up, and their new location in Rogers is an awesome one. And we're going to be live from that location the first Wednesday of every month. So come on out and see us if you have a chance. But we know this is the holiday season, and it's a lot of work to go out there and to cook for the whole family, and especially if you have the cousins coming in and the third cousins and the third cousins' wives, it starts to really grow on you. And you're sitting there, man, how do we do this? I don't know if I have the means to make all this food. Well, don't worry, because Blue Ember Smokehouse is going to take care of you. They got a whole turkey that'll feed 18 to 20 people for $70. You also have a turkey breast that'll feed 12 to 14 people for $55, and then a whole ham. If you're looking to go that route instead of the turkey route, 18 to 20 people is how much it feeds for $65. They also have all different sides of mac and cheese, green beans, potato salad, baked beans, sweet potato casserole, everything you could possibly want. They also cater all events, whether it's weddings, parties, or the holiday dinners. So contact any of those individual stores with their phone numbers as you see on the screen, whichever location you're closest, or you can check out their website at blueembersmokehouse.com to learn all about the great stuff they have going on there with Blue Ember Smokehouse, your local barbecue smokehouse. All right, so getting into the latest, because I know we talked a little bit about it. On3, put out some intel about the latest on the Razorback coaching search and some of the things of Pete Nakos and what he was talking about. Of course, firing Sam Pittman and all that great stuff. But according to the sauces, Petrino, to have that interim tag removed, will have to win a couple of games, and then those opportunities start with Auburn and then the rest of the schedule. It says picking up a win this weekend could be crucial. But what it's been clear is that he's been motivated, and winning down the stretch would give him, quote, a legit chance, a source told On3.
Yeah, I mean, that lines up with the type of momentum we've been feeling here. It doesn't have to be a want from us or whatever. It's just read the room, take the temperature, man. And the goalposts, I feel like, have moved a little bit. I feel like Bobby has to do less from a wins and loss standpoint to get this job than I felt when he got it in the interim. That's kind of where I'm at. And so I'm Not necessarily surprised that we see this from Nakos. I guess it's a little bit validating with how we felt like this was headed. But yeah, now what does that mean? What does that mean? If they win these 2 games here, is that enough? I don't know, but the hill is not as steep of a climb for Bobby as it was, man. It's just that's where we're at.
Yeah, the margin that he's going to have to reach has definitely gotten smaller, and it's funny because it's like you think that you'd have to win games in order to lower the number of games you'd have to win, but I really do think the way that Arkansas has played these last 2 weeks has been a net positive for Bobby's tenure, for Bobby's chances overall. And then you just look around the country at the landscape being as chaotic as it has. That has also been a net positive. I do think that's interesting. I also just have been checking the tenor of the fan base. I'm with you that I don't know if winning these next 2 games would be for sure firmly enough, but like just based on the reaction to them losing by 3 to A&M, I would imagine them beating Auburn is going to get a whole nother group of people on that bandwagon. And if they beat Mississippi State and then go into a bye week and kind of get to sit in that good atmosphere for a while, then you look at it and say, all right, they've gone 2-2 under Bobby, and the 2 losses are really close games against top competition. Like, it's going to be really hard. I still don't know where I would stand on it, but it's going to be hard to tell the fan base that is currently very in love with Bobby that he's not the right option at that point. And this is kind of what we've been saying all along, that like this thing could change. And we thought it might be 3 or 4 games, but like if Bobby wins games down the stretch, it is going to change this conversation. And now it seems like it's even less, but make no mistake, because I know there's some people that after the A&M game wanted to hire Bobby right away. He does still have to win these games. And so just like the conversation has changed now, the conversation will change just as much if they lose to Auburn on Saturday.
Yeah, see, that was my thing. I'm glad you brought that up, Curtis, because I was thinking, I think we even talked about it with the questions being asked before Petrino had coached a game. He had 7 games left. We're like, man, 4, if he wins 4 of the 7, he's for sure the guy. 3, could go either way, but 2 or less, nah, he just can't do it that way. And then here we are, because I agree with you that if they win these next 2 games, and just to make sure everyone's clear, I'm not saying I'm 100% give the man the job. I'm just saying that this looks like the reality of that we're living in, is that if he wins these next 2, the betting odds would probably be that he is the next head coach, and they would rip that interim tag off, especially during the bye week. And that could be the case. Should it be the case? That's up for debate and up for determination. But given the circumstances of the vibes, as you said, Andrew, and just like the feel of everything, it feels like that's what we're trending towards. It feels like, and again, maybe I'm looking at it too simply. It feels like that those who are in charge, they're not looking necessarily for all the other coaches and all they're not looking for a reason to not hire Petrino. All they need is that one reason to hire Petrino. And those 2 wins to them, there's their reason, hire the man. That's the way
let's just think about it. How many people, the day that Sam Pittman was fired and Bobby Petrino was named the interim coach, at that very moment, what percentage of the fan base was like down to hire Bobby as the full-time head coach? A very small percentage, like maybe only 5%. After the first game against Tennessee, I feel like that number climbed a little bit, maybe only 10, 15%. And I think it definitely, since the A&M game, maybe it's not a third, but like the number is getting higher. And again, it hasn't necessarily been that way for me in my stance, but they win a couple games, I think that number is going to get to like 50-50 real quick.
I would agree with that, man. That's just where we're at. The goalpost has moved to 1 less win. 4, you got it. 3, maybe, and now it's like 3. Oh yeah, that dude's getting the job for sure. 2, yeah, maybe. I think that's where we're at, man. And if he wins against Auburn, I think it's going to move again to kind of the point we're talking about here, where it's like, shit, man. If he gets this one against Mississippi State,
And listen, we've all 3 said, this is not our opinion. This is not us saying, hey, we are now like all on board with like, let's hire Bobby. But like just reading the tenor. I mean, we talk to you guys every day, or is on Twitter, everywhere. People are doing polls, whatever. We have our own literal poll that Bobby is now dominated. Like, if you just look at the Razorback fan base, they are being talked in. Like, they are very much buying whatever it is that Bobby is selling. And more importantly, I think there's also other people in the state who are buying that as well. And so in terms of us and like what we think they should do, I know we're about to talk about Alex Golesh here in a second. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, we can tell you what we feel and what we think should happen and what our confidence level is. But like, we are just 3 men that have a microphone. We're not like making this decision. So if you're mad, don't be mad at us.
Yeah. I'm of the, like, I think it's just so funny to look back on the past few weeks and, all the stuff that's changed or not changed. And just thinking back to where the announcement was first officially made about the firing of Sam Pittman, that final sentence in that statement of Bobby Petrino is not only going to be the interim, but he is basically he wants the job. I don't know exactly the word verbatim, but it was like he wants the job and he's being considered as a candidate for the head coaching vacancy moving forward. And I remember we talked about it during our breaking news live stream. We're like, why did you put that in there?
Yeah,
like,
interesting
why did you
placement.
do that? Yeah. And it's like the longer it's gone on, kind of keep going back to it. And I'm like, yeah, man, there's a lot of sense that makes of why we're at the place we're at, where it was almost like, hey, from the very jump, we're not even letting anybody, we're not even letting the dirt dry up from us burying Sam Pittman. This guy wants the job. That's what's crazy.
And the way that we are seeing, kind of the winds shift towards Bobby Petrino in certain ways here has impacted the way I feel about the rest of this coaching search and other candidates. I know we're getting ready to talk about that. And this is a prime example of it that we're getting ready to talk about. But I feel differently now about who is, realistic, viable, whatever, because of the, I guess momentum is the word that Bobby seems to be getting here.
And I also, you mentioned the momentum and sort of what you think is possible. I wonder if that's how much that's playing into the equation of the U of A. I'm sure they've had some conversations. I'm sure they've sent out some feelers or whatever. I wonder how much of this, being more willing to buy into Bobby is the fact that the U of A kind of knows, hey, whoever it is that you guys want and that we think is the right candidate, we're not going to be able to even get in the door there. We're not going to be able to get them that conversation. We know that the U of A likes to take cheap routes. We know they like to take easy routes. I'm wondering if they are at least going to get told no by other people first. That's what I would appreciate. As a Razorback fan, I'm not going to riot and storm the Capitol if they hire Bobby, but I want you to at least make James Franklin say no, make Alex Golesh say no, make whoever say no to you. And then if you turn around and say, you know what, we can make this thing work with Bobby, I won't be happy about it, but I at least want to know that you're trying there. And that's why I push so firmly against the idea that they should just remove the interim tag and just call it a day. It's like, I think we should go do our due diligence, make sure we know what our options are before we can make a determination on our options. I don't think the University of Arkansas would be doing their self a service by just not assessing all of their options, which I know sounds simple, but part of this Bobby thing and the fact that they planted that seed right away lets you know that this was in the back of their mind all along. And so I'm wondering now, Sam Pittman, for example, I don't think he called 12 OCs before he hired Dan Enos. I think he called the first guy he thought of and he said yes, and that was it. I hope that's not what is happening here.
I would agree with you. But the only thing I'll say, and is kind of the point I was making earlier, I think that list of guys who you actually would want to make say no is smaller than we thought it was. And I don't think Alex Golesh is on it.
True.
I don't think he's on it.
Yeah. And that's kind of the scary thing, I guess, because, you don't want the Brett Bielema deal happen, which again, we talked about him being a great hire, but you didn't talk to anybody else really during that search. And it just makes you wonder if, you don't talk to anybody, how do you know? How do you know? And one of the other things too, is that with a lot of these coaching searches that Arkansas has had in football, if you think about it, guys, it was never the AD or the board or whoever's involved reaching out to people. It was when they just kind of got reached out to. The Bobby Petrino, when he was hired as head coach, they reached out to Arkansas. When Brett Bielema got hired, they reached out to Arkansas. When the Chad Morris thing happened, it was a recommendation and all this from Gus Malzahn and all that. And, you don't want, I want somebody to actually to move with a purpose and do your job and making sure you vet every candidate and then make the best possible conclusion. That's what I want. So, but I tell you what, we'll talk about one of those guys that may or may not, but probably won't be on the list, but we're still going to talk about him because it's fun here in just a second. But we want to tell you about our friends over at the Eye Center here of Northwest Arkansas, because your vision is essential. It's important to you. It's great to see, especially to see clearly. And it makes life so much tougher if you're unable to do so, especially not only for you, but also for your family. But at the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas, they have award-winning eye doctors that are board certified and professionally active. And their patients will always talk about how caring and friendly they are in getting you the best vision care. Every patient receives the best, whether it comes to technology and also the old-fashioned personal attention. They're able to perform cataract surgery for you before the end of 2025, which we're nearing close to. I mean, we just got a little over 2 months left. With the holiday season coming up, you want to make sure that you got your clear view to hang out with the family, to also watch all these great Razorback events. You definitely want to have great vision for that. And they also have great availability right now for eye exams, to just make sure you get checked out. Make sure you're good there with their new provider, Dr. Rebecca Brown. And don't forget that they do Botox, filler, and IPL with their aesthetics provider, Olivia Risch. She's been a registered nurse for over 12 years and can get you squared away also before the end of 2025. So buy a treatment in advance for your loved one or for your own, for a holiday present. Makes a great gift. I don't know about you, but if I couldn't see and somebody bought me vision care for a gift that would help me see, I'd be all about it. And you know, your family members would be too. So schedule an appointment with the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas today at 479-442-2020. It's 479-442-2020. You can also check out their website at eyecenternwa.com for more info. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into making the case, as we've done for a few coaches. I don't think we have officially done one for Bobby Petrino, but listen, pretty much every single show we've talked plenty about Bobby, but we've done one for James Franklin. We've talked about him. We talked about, of course, like John Gruden was really fun too. And getting into that. Yeah. It's just wild. May have to start doing one for Ed Orgeron, the way things are going. But either way, Alex Golesh is one of those coaches that has had his name mentioned around. In fact, in our voting that you mentioned, Andrew, on InsideArkansas.com for who Razorback fans have wanted, he's been pretty continually in the top 5. Right now, he sits at 4th, but it's a pretty close one. And just to set it up, in case you're wondering, who is Alex Golesh? Well, he's the head coach of South Florida. He was born in the Soviet Union back in the 80s. He's only 41 years old, but he's had an experience as GAs and also a tight end coach for a long time in his career, whether it was at Toledo or also at Illinois. He's at Iowa State, but he was at UCF when Josh Heupel was there in 2020, and then came over with him as the OC, as well as the tight end coach at Tennessee in 2021, 2022, until he took the head coaching position at South Florida. He has gone 7-6 in 2023, as well as 7-6 in 2024. And where it stands right now, he is 6-1 on the season so far. So, guys, Alex Golesh, next Razorback head coach. What do you think?
I think it sounds great personally, and I know in that NACOS article, we talked about Petrino and that factor there. And I think it was Lashley, Golesh, and Ryan Silverfield at Memphis that were mentioned as the other candidates to know there, which was interesting. We haven't talked too much about Silverfield. Maybe he'll be tomorrow. I don't know. But here's my thought, boys. I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can. I do have a lot to say about it, but I feel like if Arkansas had any balls at all, they would hire Alex Golesh and then just equip him with the resources to where he can get a good defensive staff and some playmakers and implement what I think would be an extremely exciting offense to watch. But I just don't know that a shaky administration with Hunter Yurachek and the power players, I don't know that they're going to be doing the high risk, high reward type thing with this hire. And at this stage of his career, that's, I think, where this is at. I think Golesh is damn good. I really do. He's young, only his 3rd season as a head coach. I get it. I understand those things. You mentioned some of the track record, though. He worked under Matt Campbell. I like that. He worked under Josh Heupel, and he was a massive part of that 2022 offense at Tennessee that was like number 1 in the country or whatever. And you can look at, and I know people are going to start doing the Chad Morris thing if they're a hater here, but you can look at where that South Florida program was to where he has it now. It's pretty impressive. I mean, they were 1-11, and he changed the culture. He's made back-to-back bowls. He's won those bowls, and they're a legitimate college football playoff contender this year. It's not crazy to think that they get in there. Like, they beat Boise State. They beat Florida. They've got Memphis this weekend, and maybe he'll kick their ass like he did Eric Morris's, and we can just move Silverfield off of this conversation. But if they do that, and then they beat Jeff Traylor in a couple weeks, like, they'll probably finish 11-1 and win the American. They're going to be sitting there waiting to get selected. So, like, I think he needs to do that, though, to be a legitimate candidate for this Arkansas job, given everything else that you have going on. Because, like, he's got some dudes on that team, some real athletes. So I think about a time period where in-state recruiting in Arkansas sucks and it's not prioritized. And I look at him, and he's very well respected. He's got deep recruiting ties in Florida. That excites me. 13th in total offense, 7th in scoring offense this year. There's a lot to like there. But again, for me, I think Alex Golesh, like, with resources and support, that's a scary combination that I think could level you up. There's risk that comes with that, but there's two things that have me holding back here. One, there are a lot of job openings. There are going to be a lot of job openings that he's going to be connected to. So what does that look like? How appealing is your job compared to others that he's going to be able to consider? But the other thing for me, boys, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but do we really believe if, say, Bobby Petrino wins even a couple more games here with the momentum that he suddenly has, that they are going to tell him to take a hike and go hire a G6 coach that has 3 years of experience and one great season? I have a hard time believing it. And so, like, the more Petrino loses, the more realistic I could see a guy like Golesh being if he continues to win. But if Bobby's winning games, I feel like it lowers Golesh's chances every week, whether that's fair or not. I think that's where this is at.
Yeah, I'm with you in that I don't expect the U of A. There's a chance the U of A doesn't even freaking know who Alex Golesh is. Like, that really is possible, that most of, like, the boosters involved in this decision have no clue, and they will have no clue. They're not going to think outside the box. Perfectly fine. And I'm with you. I just don't think it's a super realistic thing that Arkansas, this is not the type of guy they would typically hire. You also mentioned the Chad Morris thing and like kind of the risk involved when you're taking a chance on a younger up and coming guy who is not coached in the SEC. You are taking a risk. You are saying, hey, this guy has kind of advanced through all these levels of his career. And that's usually how this thing works. You start off as a GA here, you get a position coach job here. Now you're a coordinator here. Now you're a head coach maybe, or you're a coordinator at a big school, or you kind of go up the ladder that way, and you're kind of passing all of these levels. And Alex Golesh, makes no mistake about it, has passed all of the levels he's done. As a position coach, he was great. He was under Matt Campbell at Toledo, and then under Matt Campbell at Iowa State. Tremendous. He goes to Illinois. Great as a position coach. He goes to be a coordinator. Tremendous. Goes to be a head coach at a small school. Tremendous. So it's like he's passing all of these levels, and the bet you would be making is, hey, we're going to give him a even harder task. We're going to let him, he's on the video game. It's time for him to go to that final boss, which is the SEC, and we'll see if he's ready. But there's always that chance that he crashes and burns. But I look at his resume, man, and I don't see anything that gives me pause, honestly, which pretty much with all these candidates, there's something you have to kind of look past of like, oh, yeah, it didn't go great for this guy here. I mean, Bobby Petrino's the guy that we're talking about today. With Bobby Petrino's resume, there's a lot great, but there's a lot you look at and you say, oh, crap, he flamed out at Louisville? Oh, man. Wait, he hasn't been recruiting well? Oh, dang, he hasn't been in the SEC for a while. He hasn't been to, the NIL. There's things you would look at and be like, man, I don't know. The thing with Alex Golesh, I just haven't seen anything personally from Alex Golesh that I haven't liked. But I also haven't seen him face a 9-game SEC schedule. I also haven't seen him have to compete with Texas A&M for a recruit. And so those are the things that you would have to kind of keep in mind. But I love the resume. I specifically love what he did with Heupel. And by the way, I think Heupel I've always held in high regard. I think he's one of the best offensive minds in the country. Tennessee's offense has not quite been the same since Alex Golesh left. And just think about that for a second. Josh Heupel, who we all agree is like a top 5 offensive mind in college football, his offense has not quite been the same since Golesh left. Now, they've still been good, but like those offenses in 21 and 22 under Tennessee, which, by the way, were year 1 and year 2 of Heupel's era, were unbelievable. I mean, they went in to beat Bama. I mean, Hendon Hooker gets drafted in the first round. Jalen Hyatt gets drafted in the first round. Those guys are out of the NFL, but they got drafted in the first round because of that Tennessee offense. I think he's doing something right there schematically. I think he's doing something right as a program builder. I also think he's doing something right as a recruiter. I think he's doing a great job in Florida. And that roster at South Florida looks like a freaking SEC roster. Like, I don't know how he got those guys there, but like that's a legit SEC team. They've been on the field with an SEC team in Florida and looked like average talent. Like they looked like they were a normal SEC team. I've been very impressed with what he's done. I would like to see him get a big opportunity like this, and make no mistake, he will get a big opportunity in the SEC soon. And I'm very interested to see what his next 10 years of his career look like.
Well, you mentioned his time at Tennessee. Like it's interesting to look at because when he and Heupel came over in 2021, they shattered 8 single season team records of Tennessee, which included points scored, total offensive yards, touchdowns, points after touchdowns made, for what that's worth, total first downs, rushing first downs, as well as fewest interceptions thrown. They threw 3 interceptions in that season. And they improved their scoring offense from 2020 to 2021, 101 spots. They went from being 108th in 2020 to 7th. Now, I know that was a few years ago and you can't just automatically equate, but the point is that in one single year, they went from being a putrid offense to shattering every single record known to man in there. And that's, to me, showcasing, especially because what they did with Hendon Hooker, what they did going into the SEC. That's when Nick Saban was still there. That's when Kirby Smart was still there. It was at Georgia. Like, these were still when they had really good teams that they were going to be going up against. They were very effective. And anytime that someone, and you can say this about any coach, but anytime someone brings up a comparison, like if someone says, "Oh, Chad Morris," okay, well, here's the thing. If you say, look at Eli Drinkwitz, he's doing fairly well over there at Missouri. That dude was like the head coach of Appalachian State for like a second. Like, if people would have been like, "Oh, you just hired him," well, it's working out for him. That's the point. Same thing with, you could say about Gus Malzahn. When then Auburn hired him, he'd been the head coach for one season at Arkansas State. But it worked out. The point is like, not every coach you just look at and be like, Chad Morris. Because if that's the case, some of you may look at James Franklin, for instance, be like, Brett Bielema, it's going to come in and suck. It's like, you can't look at it that way. It's like, sometimes these things do work out. And sometimes it does end up being successful. But I'm with you. If they hired Alex Golesh, I think it'd be great. I think it would be a really great hire. I think it would be great to see what he's capable of. But there is a lot of uncertainty. But if people who want young, energized, hot names, he would be it. And also, offense is kind of his thing, which last time I checked, Arkansas, to me, the best way that they win is having an effective offense. So I think it would be great. I think it would be a great hire if they made it. His wife's from Arkansas. I don't know if you guys heard. She's from Arkansas. Grew up a Razorback fan. But at the end of the day, I just don't know how serious Arkansas would be about hiring him. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah, I think we all agree that there's a level of excitement. He very well, if I was to look at all of these, the hot shot coordinators or the G6, coaches, who's going to be the next big thing, Golesh would be at the top of my list. I have him above John Sumrall and other guys. I really think he's good. It comes down to one question for me. Matter of fact, let me ask you guys the question. If Bobby Petrino wins 2 or more games, does anything short of a college football playoff appearance for Alex Golesh get him above Bobby in the pecking order in the eyes of the decision makers at the University of Arkansas? I think no.
I would say no as well. And that's a very important distinction in the eyes of the decision makers at Arkansas, who very routinely make bad decisions. And I'm not saying that hiring Bobby would be a bad decision. I'm just saying, like, well, I think we are firmly, like, the three of us, we agree that, like, how we feel about Alex Golesh is just not the same as how the U of A is going to feel and kind of what they would view in this. Because you got to think about it, like, us saying who we want is very different. The U of A, who's sitting here watching the fan base gawk over Bobby Petrino and knows that nostalgia factor's there, they know that when they hired Bobby as the OC, it totally dominated ticket sales, and it's a huge reason why the stadium is still full. Like, it's going to be really hard for that university to look at it and say, okay, we can pay Bobby, who has coached in the SEC, and we kind of know what we got here, maybe less of a risk in terms of ticket sales and all that. We could hire him for half the price, literally. Like, maybe not quite, but like Golesh, that's the thing, is what it would take to hire Golesh is you have to compete with Florida and Auburn. And I just think the U of A looks at that and says, nah, don't want to do it. I would also say, and I'm not knocking the chat, I'm just observing the chat. If you look at the chat, our chat today, a lot of them are just like, hey, we could never get Golesh. Like, let's just hire Bobby because, like, we can't get a guy like that. We're never going to be able to have the money. We're not going to be able to fund the resources and all that. And so I was like, if your fan base is already saying that, how are you as the U of A? You're not going to, like, try and prove your fan base wrong. You're going to accept that as like, okay, yeah, we can afford to just take the easy route here.
To that point right there, that's the other question I have here about this is, if they hire Bobby, we know that it's going to come with a good amount of financial support. That's the biggest part of this for me, is like, it doesn't matter who the hell you hire. You've got to have the resources in place. Bobby probably will get that. A Rhett Lashley probably would get that. What an Alex Golesh? Like, have they done enough homework? Are they familiar enough to drum up that type of support? Because it's one thing to pay enough to get him or whatever, but then put him in a position to succeed. I just feel like they would be more willing to do that with some of these other guys as opposed to him, even though I disagree. Because I don't know if Golesh is my number one. He's absolutely in my top 3. I think he'd be a hell of a hire. But if we're trying to predict like where the U of A is at and what they might do, that's where I think he falls a little bit short personally.
Well, I was looking at his contract for what it's worth. He's getting paid $2.6 million a year at USF. And he has a salary pool of over $5 million. His agent, as of this moment, is not Jimmy Sexton. So, positives.
Huge.
Yeah, that's big. But, it's something to where I think someone's going to hire him. It's like one of those coaches, just a few of these, but it's like someone's going to hire him. Someone's going to take a risk on it. I don't know if it's going to be this year in this coaching search. Could be next year. I don't know, but someone's going to hire him. And I'm not saying that he has to be the guy in order for Arkansas to succeed, but it is one of those things. I just have a feeling that no matter what, whoever does hire him, if it's not Arkansas, that you're going to look at him and be like, man, that guy's pretty good wherever he's going to be. But again, it's not saying that Arkansas is going to fail no matter who they hire, because they can have other coaches that are really good too. Just saying that I don't think there's going to be a time where you look at that and be like, ooh, dodged a bullet on Alex Golesh. I just don't see him being that type of coach.
Well, like, listen, Ole Miss took a risk when they hired Lane Kiffin. Contrary to popular belief, I know now it looks like an obvious thing. Lane Kiffin was a guy that had a ton of baggage at that point in time, and he was coming off of a good run at FAU after he'd been a coordinator under Nick Saban. But like Lane Kiffin had his fair share of risk involved. I just don't think Ole Miss looks back at that summer of 2019 or that winter of 2019, and they're like, oh man, that was such a big risk. We had to pay more money, and so I think that's like, if we're now giving our opinion here, like, I just think it's such a weird thing for the U of A that like they don't seem to want any of these other options. They don't like the idea of taking a risk, and the idea of maybe doing something that might be scary or unknown or whatever is just so far not on their radar. And I just think that sucks, man, because I think if you go back to 2019, Arkansas didn't want to take a risk, and it's like, you've had to now make so many more harder decisions since then because you didn't want to try and take a risk. And I just think Arkansas is having such a tunnel vision here of like, hey, let's just hire Bobby, and we couldn't get anyone else, so let's not even think about it at all. And I just think you have to be prepared now, since you did this in 2019. You have to now be prepared for, if Alex Golesh takes a job somewhere else, you're always going to be compared to him. And if John Summerall takes a job somewhere else, you're always going to be compared to him. If James Franklin takes the Auburn job, you're always going to have that as a comparison, especially, we think about that same year where Drinkwitz got hired, Kiffin got hired, Mike Leach got hired at Mississippi State. Those guys were always compared to Arkansas. And so it's like, if you're the U of A, you don't have to take a risk. You don't have to really get in and make this thing dirty, especially since you were the first job to open up and had a fresh start on everyone. But now if you're going to do the safe route, you need to be prepared to always be looking at all these other schools and comparing your program, good or bad.
What makes me nervous about Golesh is because I don't think Florida will hire him. They probably should, but I don't think they will after the Napier deal. I think they're going to go for a name and just try to make that happen with something more proven. It's the dominoes of that makes me nervous. Like, if Kiffin takes the Florida job, what if Ole Miss then pulled Golesh over there? Or if Drink gets one of these jobs that he's connected to, and then Mizzou pulls him over there. That's the kind of thing that will piss me off, because I could see Arkansas being, like I said, they had some balls about them. This might be something that they would do, and they go a different direction, and then somebody is bold and they do it, and then he winds up being like the next Dan Lanning or something. And you got to see him every year. That's my biggest fear with this Golesh situation. I think Summerall's going to Auburn. So
yeah.
Which, by the way, as an Auburn hater, which I'm not an Auburn hater, but they're in our conference. Summerall hater and an Auburn hater, like, I think Summerall would be getting fired in 3 years.
I mean,
that would be a dream scenario for me.
Yeah. Well, it could end up happening the way things are going. But since we've talked about Golesh as part of our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall, which we're going to be there tomorrow, folks, live from Alumni Hall, 3417 North College Avenue. So come by and see us from 12 to 2. When you come in, you'll get geared up for all of the great Razorback events happening this weekend. Of course, Razorback basketball tomorrow night against Cincinnati in the exhibition game. You're going to have Razorback football against Auburn, and it might be a little moist out there this weekend, a little rain going on. Well, they're going to have plenty of things to offer when it comes to all things Razorbacks that's going to protect you from that. And they also have the high-end gear, whether it's Peter Millar, Johnny O, Southern Tide, Columbia, everything in stock, men, women, and kids, all you could possibly want. So come on out and see us tomorrow live from Alumni Hall, 3417 North College Avenue. Use that promo code HOGSBY20 while we're there. You get 20% off your purchase. As simple as that. So check it out again today at Alumni Hall, and also check out their website, insidearkansas.com/Alumni Hall. And the question was pretty simple, guys. would you take Alex Golesh as your next head coach of Arkansas? This very accurate voting has 66% of you saying yes, you would take Alex Golesh as your next head coach.
I'm surprised to hear that, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Are you surprised 66% of folks know enough about him to be able to make the right decision?
Maybe, but I just thought more Hog fans are very dismissive of the idea of hiring anyone other than Bobby Petrino or Nick Saban.
Yeah, I can't help but think. Hopefully, this is not what people did in this voting, and they actually want Alex Golesh. But I couldn't help but think of like any name that gets popped up. I wonder how many people are saying yes to it, regardless of who it is, because it's not Bobby Petrino. And then there's probably people that are saying no, regardless of who it is, because they want Bobby Petrino. It's like just how much voting is.
I know we do a lot of polling, a lot of surveys and stuff, and you never really can know for sure. But like, I genuinely want to know for our audience, how many of them are like where they stand on like the Bobby thing? Because sometimes I'll read the chat and I'm like, oh, it's 90% Bobby. But then sometimes I'll read it and I'm like, oh, nobody wants Bobby. And I can never get a good feel.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is as time will go on, we'll start to see more and more of the gap that widens. It'll get so much more polarizing each and every day. I predict, guys, that like 2 weeks from now, we're going to be sitting here basically talking about Bobby or not. Like that's all it's going to be. Is just is it Bobby or is it not Bobby? And this is going to be the choices. But either way,
if they lose Saturday, are we just done with the conversations for a while about him? Or like much heavier on other guys? Yeah,
we should be, but we will not be done having this conversation at all. I tried to say that on Monday's show where I was like, "Hey, is there a lot of stakes in this game Saturday?" And the pushback was very much, no, it does not matter if he wins or loses Saturday.
It sucks that it's more feasible that they could win some of these other, like, it's not crazy to think that they could beat LSU or Texas or Missouri based on what we've seen from them. Whereas, coming into the year, especially with LSU and Texas, it was like, ain't no way in hell. And so now it just like leaves the door open beyond these two games or whatever. But John, I know you've said it too, but like if they lose this weekend, it's the momentum, at least from my standpoint, goes away completely. Like you got to really build it back up there. I think it would change the conversation. You're right. We wouldn't stop having it, but maybe we could have some more fruitful conversations about other candidates without the constant, but Bobby, that goes along with it. I don't know.
Well, I also think too, just to make sure I clarify my comments, because I still believe that if Bobby and Arkansas loses this weekend to Auburn, I'm off the train. But that doesn't mean that and I'm not saying they would do this, but if they won the next 4, then yeah, obviously I'd be back on the train. Like it doesn't mean it's like I am writing this off completely and I am done forever. It's just I'll get to the point where like, all right, I'm not in the camp of wanting this anymore. Doesn't mean I can't be proved the other way. Like that's the nuance. That's the balancing act is like, you got to see what's in front of you. And if they lose this weekend, it's just going to be a major bummer to where next week I'm going to be like, I think Arkansas needs to look elsewhere where it stands. Now, again, it can be proven wrong. Things can change, but yeah, I can't justify you being my clubhouse leader for the job, for the Razorback head coaching job, Bobby Petrino, if you can't beat Auburn at home. Yeah, I just can't do it.
I'm with you. I think we are the only 3 people in the state of Arkansas who are publicly admitting we will change our minds based on results. Because I just, back to if we would be having this conversation, I just don't think that people that where they stand now, I don't think whatever happens Saturday is going to change their mind. Like if you are a huge Bobby guy and you want to give Bobby the job, I don't think losing to Auburn is something, because I mean, it would just quickly be, hey, the defense is the reason they lost, and that's not Bobby's fault. So, like, if you're a Bobby guy, why would losing to Auburn change your mind? And if you're, already an anti-Bobby guy, I don't think beating pretty much an interim coach or a lame duck head coach is going to sell you over. And so I just think everyone that has their opinion right now, it is not going to change on Saturday, no matter what happens.
Yeah. What if, so that's a good point, because that's what I think a lot of folks would point to is like, oh, it's not Bobby's defense. He didn't bring this, whatever. Yeah. What if it's a situation where, the defense gives up 24 and you lose because that offense gets shut down by a really good Auburn defense? Listen, then are we like, you didn't score in the second half,
You would think, but dude, I'm just telling you, wait until you see that postgame chat. I guarantee you people are going to be like, oh no, this doesn't matter. Still hire Bobby. I guarantee it. Wait.
Dude, we got back-to-back days of these post-game reaction shows, and both of them are going to just be off the rails. Overreacting to an exhibition basketball game that doesn't matter, And regardless of how this Auburn game goes, it's going to be absolutely nuts. I really can't wait for them.
By the way, if you're a football guy that's listening to this show and you think, man, that Andrew guy is really negative, just listen to me tomorrow night if they beat Cincinnati and Bud Walton. I'll be the most positive guy. I'm going to go. Curtis is going to have to cut me off and be like, relax, dude. It's okay.
Yeah. No, it's going to be great for all the weekend stuff. But yeah, reactions are going to be pretty prevalent, and I'm sure none of them will be overreactions to anything. But yeah, what you brought up, Curtis, as far as the scoring against Auburn and not scoring, because that would be kind of funny if like Arkansas won, but then they won because the defense actually stepped up and the offense looked like crap and turned the ball over a bunch. It's like,
yeah,
like, dadgummit, like, can't we just make this easy? Like, just give us a path to just where it doesn't put us in a pretzel no matter what. It's like, that's probably what's going to happen. Arkansas is going to win 3-2 tomorrow on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, man.
Hey, John, you remember last year? Yeah. Last year when Arkansas beat Auburn and you were not impressed?
I wasn't. And everyone got mad at me for it.
That is when we first got our reputation as haters, you know. And here I am thinking they just won
that Auburn team went 5-7 and they're about to fire the coach. You turned out to be right, I feel like.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't start those rumors. But no, that's just the thing is I will be like, you'll take a win no matter what. And there's a difference between, being happy with a win, but also being a little disappointed in the performance. Like you can do both. Two things can be right at once. But it's just, I would really, really like it if Arkansas won on Saturday, that they did it by a final score of like 42 to like 20. That'd be cool. That way, just again, kind of direct the path towards something that, the way that the season gone, it's just no one really knows what to think because everyone's mind's on a pretzel. So either way, speaking of pretzels, let's go ahead and get into the chat. But we want to remind everybody that here at Inside Arkansas, our friends over at OZK Insurance, they are the best when it comes to helping you find your insurance, whether it's home, auto, business, you name it. They do it. They got it. And they're based right here in Arkansas. They shop multiple carriers to find the best coverage and the best price for you, which saves you time and money. As we all know, saving time and saving money is always a great thing. But everything in life that you have, all the things that you value, all the things that matter the most, you want protection in it. You want protection from any and everything. And that's what they can help you out with at OZK Insurance. It's protection that you can count on. They have over 600 5-star Google reviews. 600 is an insane amount of 5-star reviews. It's the same amount of reviews in general, but that shows you how great they are and how awesome that they are with every single one of their clients and customers. Over 600 5-star Google reviews. You can't beat that. So count on OZK Insurance to get a free online quote today at ozkinsurance.com, or you can call 479-715-4200. That's 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. All right, so getting into some of your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We all know the rules that super chats always get read first. But shout out to our guy Joshua Byers, who's back in here, says, "I don't think it's that most of us are dismissive of someone other than Bobby. It's just we've seen this movie before."
Did they hire John L. Smith or Barry Lunny? They always hire the interims. I think I might be missing the actual intent of the thing here, but I'll
tell you what movie I've seen before. I have seen Bobby Petrino take over as head coach at a school that he served previously as the head coach. And they hired him based on the premise of, they said, hey, 10 years ago, he had a ton of success here. So let's just hire him again. It's been long enough. We forgive him for his mistakes. Let's bring him in. And when they did that, he had a couple decent years. And then he went 5-7. And then he went 2-10 after Lamar left. And then he got fired. That happened at Louisville. And I'm not saying that guaranteed would happen at Arkansas. It's a very different situation, very different era, very different team and everything. But I think if you're an Arkansas fan trying to talk yourself in, that's the movie you've seen before. You've seen every single tenure that Bobby Petrino has ended on a very bad note. Literally from offensive coordinator to head coach, every single school he has stopped at, he has left on bad terms. Every single one of them. And that's not I'm not saying that would necessarily happen again at Arkansas. But you have to be saying, if you're talking yourself into Bobby, you need to be saying, why would that not happen here? And there are a lot of reasons for that. He's a different man. Circumstances are different. NIL, Frank Fletcher, blah, blah, blah. But you need to be saying, that's the movie we've seen before. Why would this one be different? And there may be a reason for that. But if you're talking about seeing a movie before, I've seen a lot of Bobby Petrino movies, and all of them have a bad ending.
Well, he also said earlier in the chat, says, as long as we hire someone that could have won more games in the same position as Bobby, I'll be okay with it. Which
he hasn't won any.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like where it's at now. I get what your sentiment is, but at the same time, it's like we'll never know. Also, like say if he goes for the next 5 games and he wins 2, it's like, well, this coach, if they would have hired him, could have come in and he would have won 3. Like we'll never know. Like there's no guarantee in that. Like could James Franklin have walked into the situation that Bobby was in as interim and beaten Texas A&M and in Tennessee? It's like I don't know. No one will know. So I just don't think he can approach it in that regard.
How about you just hire a guy that you think is going to be a good coach for your program and is going to lead you into the future positively? How about that be the criteria for how you hire a coach? And look, that might be Bobby, but like, why do we have to like preface it based on like, well, if we hire him based on something that happened in the past and all, it's like, why don't you just hire him based on who's the best guy to lead your program moving forward? Would
be a nice thing. Also shout out to our guy Quinn. Quite a few super chats in here. He said, tickets bought 50-yard line. So you guys are on the 50 midfield.
Hope you brought a poncho.
We're storming that field.
Oh man, that would be also a sight to see. But Quinn also said dinner was good last night. It was good hanging out, man. Yeah, it's good seeing you. He also was talking about the Auburn search. Says I think Summerall would be successful here at Auburn, but he also says I would be fine with Golesh or Summerall here at Auburn. In fact, I prefer them over Franklin. So
yeah,
hire Summerall, please.
Yeah, do that.
Well, I would imagine any Auburn fan would probably be hesitant for Franklin because of the big game James thing, you know.
Yeah.
But they're seeing Bama and Georgia every year or whatever. It's like you got to occasionally win those, and but it's just a little bit of a different conversation for Arkansas. Like you're just trying to get your program as a whole with just a higher floor and just more stable footing. That is something he could absolutely provide. But if we are having the conversations about winning more of these huge games than you lose or whatever, yeah, that's a little bit different,
Well, and also too, and we always talk about the value of certain games and like what it means. It just makes you wonder that if Auburn would have stopped Alabama on that 4th and goal from the 30 or whatever it was, when Hugh Freeze, I think it was his first year there, just makes you wonder, like, would that have provided more of a benefit? Like that one game, that one win over Alabama, would that have provided more of a benefit of the doubt towards Hugh Freeze? Because I always felt like, as we talked about, Gus Malzahn, if he ever beat Bama, it's like, all right, we'll give this guy 2 more years. It's like, just all those little small things, man. Small things would make a difference for some. But I'll say, hey, here he is. OKC Hog, appreciate Super Chat. Says in 2020, 2021, 2022, USF was 4-29. They are 20-13 so far and ranked 19th in the country. Turns programs around, scored 50 points on Saban, #1 offense.
Are we 100% sure OKC Hog's not a bot?
It's unbelievable to me because we've really been hyping his boy this entire time. And as you were in the middle of like super hyping him, he was like, this is such a horrible take, Andrew. It's just a terrible take, Andrew. It's like, what?
He didn't like our Golesh corner?
He didn't like your Golesh corner. It was wild, dude.
Well, I was wondering when I saw that, I was like, Andrew must have like said something of like, now I might be concerned with the fact he's only been a head coach for 2 years. Just a horrible take. Like, it's almost like if you said one little thing that could have been a concern.
Dude, like, I like tickled. I was doing like
easy.
I did tricks on it, bro. Like, how did you not like the Golesh take? I literally like. People are mad at me for how much I liked Golesh. How did you not like my Golesh take? Okay, what the hell?
I really 50 on Saban. Or are we talking about like that Tennessee team? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. But I mean, that was a huge performance. But yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Okay. Jeez, just cracks me up every time. Shout out to Michael Card for the super chat. Says, can you wait on him if he is in the playoff? Talking about Golesh.
I hadn't really considered that.
I bet he would announce he's going to be the head coach at Arkansas and then finish out. You know what I mean? I think you would hire him and he would start recruiting, but you would let him coach the playoff because cool.
It's easier to do that now, I think, with the portal move back to January anyway. So the answer is yes, you could do it a lot easier than you could previously because you wouldn't be in the middle of portal season and everything like that without an acting and working head coach.
You could pull the Will Wade, just like announce that he's going to the pool, but he's still going to coach in the postseason. Yeah, just do something like that. Shout out to Bologna Razors 22.
Nice.
For being a new member here. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that
Do you know anyone from Bologna?
Yeah, we know who's from Bologna. Old Charlie Queso. But yes. So we appreciate you being a member. We got the member bump here recently. As soon as Trey became a member,
man.
it just went wild. Everybody wanted to be a part of the party.
I'm still happy for Trey. I slept a little bit better last night, just knowing that he's officially one of us, because it's just not fair that he's been an outsider all this time.
Yeah.
No.
But he did leave the chat earlier, and he said he had to go to the dishes or something. It's hard when we're trying to talk and monitor the chat at the same time. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like that's the thing is we have intern Cameron kind of behind the scenes who helps us with the chats and the monitoring, and he doesn't have his camera on, but I know he's probably giggling the entire time, just looking because he's looking at the chats and having to read through some of them. Yeah. See, look, he's shaking his head up and down, already giggling down there, Cameron. So yeah, that's great, man. All right. So Heartbroken Hog says, are we sure Bobby has financial beyond just Frank Fletcher because he's not enough by himself?
Yes.
Yeah. At least from what I understand is yes. Like, because Frank Fletcher, which come to find out, I didn't realize the man was worth like $240 million. Like, I didn't realize he was that big, but I knew he was well off. But either way, it's more than just Frank Fletcher. I mean, for crying out loud, what was it in that On3 article? They had, forgot who they quoted, the other donor that was not Frank Fletcher was like, we'd love to have Bobby as the coach. It's like,
yeah.
Like,
and I don't think it's it's not unanimous support or whatever, but yeah, it's I feel very confident in saying that it's more than that. Let me ask you guys a question real quick, just because this is strange to me. I think we might have brought him up in passing once or twice as we were just trying to figure out who might be candidates or whatever. That's a couple times from a couple of different places now nationally where I've seen Ryan Silverfield connected to this job. We can do the making the case thing a different day. Like, your initial thoughts on that? If he beats Golesh this weekend, are you in? Or like,
so beating Golesh would help. Beating Golesh would help. My hesitation is that everyone who comes out of that Memphis program seems like a great candidate, and they all suck. Like, it just is a weird thing that happens. Everyone that goes to Memphis, like Justin Fuente. I remember when he was at Memphis, I was like, dude's a freaking stud, man. Like, we'd be lucky to have him at Arkansas, and he completely flames out. Mike Norvell was a guy, when he left Memphis, there was nobody in the world was like, this guy is not going to be a great head coach, and maybe he'll end up being okay, but like, he might get fired at FSU. And so with Silverfield, it's like, I look at the resume and I'm like, dude, the resume checks out. Those Memphis teams are solid. I don't know what it would be, but there always seems to be something wrong with specifically Memphis guys. And I know that's a simple-minded way of viewing this thing, but it's just kind of where my brain's at.
I would throw Kenny Dillingham in there as an exception, but every time I bring him up, people tell me he's a Cam Scatterbo merchant and he's not a good coach. So,
but yeah, Dillingham went from like, he's too much of a pipe dream, we can never get him, to we don't want him.
He also went from Memphis to he was at Auburn, and then he was at Florida State, and then he was at Oregon. So he was like thrice removed from Memphis before he got a job, though.
He didn't have that Tiger stench on him. He didn't have that rendezvous dust on him.
Oh, the rendezvous dust is tough, man.
Well, I'll say to your point about Silverfield, I'd have to honestly do a lot more research on him. But my thought process is, especially how it always happens with coaching candidates, the day that there's a unanimous love and appreciation and agreement on one coach being the next head coach, it will be the first time. Because even if you hired Nick Saban, there would be people be like, old. If you hired Urban Meyer, they'd be like, jerk. It just doesn't matter. It does not. You can hire Kirby Smart and be like, he couldn't do it at Georgia enough. How's he going to come to Arkansas? I mean, it just doesn't matter. So that's what makes it so. That's what makes it so much fun to discuss. We'll have our heavy hitters here in a little bit too, but I want to bring this up too from Drew. This was a great little get. Thank you for this, Drew. He said Bobby said on the buzz this morning that Cam Ball's injury was on Tuesday's practice.
Gotcha. So, I think I saw somebody right after that said maybe he was in concussion protocol. I don't know that for sure, but good to hear that Bobby addressed it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I have an idea there.
I did see that he was on the buzz this morning. I had a chance to look into it, but also there was another chat that I wanted to bring up this week. Where is it at? It's talking about their coaches, and I mean, again, I probably accidentally deleted it. I've been doing that a lot often for some reason, just deleting stuff. Oh, sorry, I'll just bring this up real quick. It has nothing to do with anything. But Seth says, first live chat for me this week, been MIA on the beach. We have a lot of people that flex on the beach. So if you're ever on the beach watching us, you have to chat about it.
You have to flex your vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, appreciate it, Seth. Appreciate you, man. All right, we'll have our heavy hitters, and I know we'll have some basketball discussions too, and baseball. Again, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and who knows, maybe we'll mix in a little bit of both into it. But right now, let's do our heavy hitters presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction, because we know storms can hit. A lot of rain's coming in this weekend. There were storms last weekend, and it's not going to stop. It's going to continue to happen throughout the year, throughout the seasons, and everything. So make sure that your roof is good to go here in the state of Arkansas, especially when storms could happen. I mean, it could be like, oh, it's just going to rain a little bit and turn into a torrential downpour with high winds and lightning and thunder and everything. So let HD Roofing and Construction check out your roof for a free inspection, and they'll let you know exactly what you need to do. You may not need anything done to your roof, or you may need a roof replacement, but don't wait too long and then have to deal with the damages after. Call them today if you're in the Central Arkansas area at 501-428-0429. You can also check out their new Northwest Arkansas office at 479-957-1928. And again, they'll give you that free inspection. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. It's HD Roofing Construction, our sponsor here for our heavy hitters. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and kick off for the heavy hitters. But one of the ones I want, again, this is weird, I get it, but Eli Drinkwitz might be my heavy hitter, because I do, as much as I hate to say it, and it's taken me a lot, so bear with me, I do respect his consistent trolling of everybody. And he said in his weekly talk show this week, he took a shot at Auburn. Sorry, Quinn. He said, there's a lot of guys on our staff who were told they didn't coach well enough to stay at Auburn. He said that. And I don't know what's made. Maybe it's the Hugh Freeze. Maybe it's just fun, like with Lane Kiffin taking shots. And I get Eli Drinkwitz. And I'm like, Eli, you're not even playing Auburn this weekend. I know it was last weekend, but he's my heavy hitter because I don't know if he's friends with anybody. Like, I don't know if he likes anybody in the coaches, or I don't know if he's just playfully trolling or whatever, but I appreciate and respect the consistency. It's one thing to troll, but then backtrack it, be like, oh, well, that's not what I meant. It's taken out of context. Let me rephrase. That dude just comes at it. And, if somebody tweeted at me yesterday, because we were talking about the Tony Vitello news, and they're like, Eli Drinkwitz is Tony Vitello. I was like, yeah, minus the championships and the, rest of it. But either way, I'm all for a good trolling, and I hate to admit it, but Eli Drinkwitz is pretty good at it and continues to be good at it, and also continues to have a pretty solid football team. But we'll see what happens this weekend. Anchor down, going for Vanderbilt, but I respect the consistency out of Eli Drinkwitz and his trolling, and he's my heavy hitter today.
He's pretty good at trolling. This Eli Drinkwitz thing is becoming a common theme for you, John, but I'm glad you guys reconciled.
I'm carrying water now for him, Curtis. Start the rumors. Right. I'm carrying water for Drinkwitz to make him the next head coach of Arkansas. So.
Yeah, exactly. My heavy hitter is Caleb Wooden. I was driving. Where was I? Oh, I was driving back from our rendezvous last night, and the coach's show was on, and so it was him and Taylor Green that were there. But you know how those things are. It's for the fans. It's for the folks who are in attendance. So this is not a press conference where they're asking like the burning questions and everything like that. Yeah, it is propaganda, man. They're trying to get people hyped and excited, tell the stories of the players or whatever. And it was the stock stuff with Taylor and everything, but was asked, Chuck asked Caleb Wooden about like, why did you choose Arkansas? Like, you hit the portal, you had all these options or whatever. Why did you choose? And then he just very succinctly said, well, knew T. Will and Marcus Woodson from, my previous stop and had a good relationship with them. So when they called, it was a no-brainer. The end. I should say Chuck is the heavy hitter because he moved on. He did a good job of like, oh, okay. And then he moved on, and asked some other questions. Oh,
did them being relieved of their duties, did that change the decision for you?
I want to remind everybody of our sponsors here. And
yeah. And I don't think there wasn't like any intent behind it or whatever, but it's the way that it came out. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Cause then he was like, but it's like, it's far from home, like 10 hours from home and everything. But my teammates make this feel like home, and, like he did the good stuff there, but that particular response was electric, man. I was like, damn.
That's funny. According to Quinn last night, not only would Wooden have not started at Auburn, had he stayed, he wouldn't have been in the 2 deep. Is what I was told, and I got to be honest with you, I don't think that was incorrect information. Actually, my heavy hitter is a guy who has been my heavy hitter before. In fact, I think he's been my heavy hitter more times than he has recorded an out in college baseball. I think we're looking at like a 4-time heavy hitter guy. and he's gotten like 3 or 4 outs. But my heavy hitter is Hunter Dietz, man. We gotta keep this bit going. So it's kind of hilarious. When I was watching him this fall, I don't know how many innings he threw, maybe 9 innings this fall, which may not seem like the end of the world, but it's just cool to see him throw and have outings that meant nothing. Because it's just nice to see him not have an outing where we're like all staring at him and like, oh, what's he going to do? But he had a very productive fall. He looks like he's going to have a role on this upcoming team, which is exciting. And here's what David Seifert of D1 Baseball had to say after seeing him up close and personal last week. He says, quote, "The upcoming 2026 draft is very light on top 2 round left-handers, but Hunter Dietz could move into first round consideration with more outings like the one he had the other day," which, by the way, was just 2 innings where he struck out 2 guys. Like, it was nothing crazy. It's just crazy that Hunter Dietz, man, we've been doing this forever. We're finally going to get rewarded. I hope he just is able to stay healthy and have a normal role for Arkansas, but it's going to be kind of hilarious if this winds up with him being a first-round pick who threw like 24 innings in his entire college career. But I wanted to shout out Hunter Dietz, man, because he's getting some love from D1 Baseball. We're just right back on. The hype train never ends.
Yep. Good job, Andrew. Now you just know what Bombastic's going to be asked about every single time. What's the word on Hunter Dietz? What's Hunter Dietz? What's the word? What's the word on Hunter Dietz? Like,
well, at least he's throwing a baseball these days. Because before it was like, what's the word? I'm like, they're hoping he can throw in 6 weeks. I don't know. At least now he's available.
Yeah. No, what's up?
No, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
I just wanted to, I'm not going to play the clip, but I was, because yesterday Michael Jordan was my heavy hitter for his thing, about the hitting the free throw in front of them all. There was video of it. Like it was legitimate. It was legitimate because some people were saying, oh yeah, it's just like he made stuff up to try to. I was like, no, there was video that came out to that. And also it's good to see Inside the NBA on ESPN, I guess, back yesterday with Shaq and Chuck and all them. It was weird being on ESPN, but glad that they're still doing that. And
Shaq called Chuck a sex symbol.
Yep, that's right. And he told him that because he had lost a lot of weight, and he's like, whatever charity that he gave him to and the clothes, he's like, make sure you keep that phone number because you're going to gain the weight back and you're going to need those clothes back. So just fun stuff like that. So that was pretty good. But also, I guess somebody said in the chat, Dylan was saying his heavy hitter was Wemby because 7-4 with an 8 wins. What was it? 40 points, like.
Yeah, 40 and 15 on like 13. It was like 15 of 21 or something like that. He was almost my heavy hitter until the Hunter Dietz thing dropped today. And so I was like, oh, got to have that. But no, Wemby Wemby looked horrifying last night.
Yeah. It was scary too.
Well, the beautiful thing is Baba Olatunji, he's Wemby 2.0 in the making. So stay tuned.
Love that.
And I can't believe I forgot this. I had this written down and everything, but also just another quick heavy hitter. Shout out to the PR department, or I guess the SIDs over there at Florida, for dropping the news that Kevin O'Sullivan, the head coach of Florida baseball, is taking a leave of absence from his coaching duties effective immediately to address personal matters. The reason I'm saying shout out to them is because there's no telling when they were probably sitting there sweating, like, when are we going to do this? When are we going to do this? When that Vitello news hit, they're like, yep, right now is when we're throwing this out there and letting them have. So that was good marketing moves by them. But crazy day yesterday in SEC baseball.
Yeah. Were there ever any details about that? I hope he's all right and stuff.
I don't know. Me and Andrew were talking about on our way to go get Quinn that it's like had to be like, was it something when he just tore apart the poor greenskeeper over there at Coastal Carolina? Does that have something to do with that or what? Who knows?
He's trying to get out of that suspension any way he can.
Yeah. Or that, or maybe he's mad at his athletic department for trying to cut his funding. Could be that too. And there's a lot of things that could happen. So also shout out to Quinn once again for his heavy hitter is the FBI.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, we got to talk about that, right?
Did the Cash Patel dude have his press conference about this? I saw he was supposed to talk about Chauncey and.
Yes, I believe so. Because that was good segue, Quinn. Thank you for that. It's like you're part of the deal. We'll get into that as well as some final chats and some other things too. But I want to remind everybody that our official law firm here at Inside Arkansas is Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better for you. That's what they always say. Things are about to get better. Well, what does that mean? It means that whatever you're going through, divorce cases, custody cases, criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury cases, these aren't things that everybody wants to go through. These aren't things that people enjoy going through. They're tough times in a lot of cases. And that's why Hickey and Hull Law always let you know that things are about to get better when you use them, because they're going to make sure that they are protective of you and your causes, and also everything going on with things that matter so much more to you every single step of the way. They're going to give you that guidance. They're going to build that relationship with you as attorney and client, and they're going to be able to direct you in the best way possible and make sure you have the principled advice and representation that you need with Hickey and Hull Law. They're the best in the business here in the state of Arkansas, and they got offices across the state in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, as well as Mena. So give them a call today for all of your legal needs at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhull.com. Scan that QR code on your screen as well. It's Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better. Okay, so well, again, we'll get to your chats here in a second too, but had to bring up this deal because a lot of you who are waking up in the sports world, just seeing things like FBI and then seeing players and coaches and all arrested. You're just like, what the crap is going on? Well, Chauncey Billups was one of the big names that saw connected with this, but it's being reported that he's the Portland Trailblazers head coach. He's been charged in an illegal poker operation tied with the mafia. That's not like an episode of The Sopranos. Like, that's a real story. Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier was arrested, but in a separate related betting case. I mean, and there's a lot more going on to this story. I know a lot of people are talking about it, but holy crap, guys. Like, this isn't just something that's like, well, it's a guy was, out there and he bet on a game and no, this is like federal charges and the FBI involved in all this craziness. Talking about like Chauncey Billups, who I really liked. I thought he was a great player, but good grief, dude. This is a wild story.
What was his nickname? Chauncey. He had like a nickname. It was like something about being clutch.
I actually don't remember.
Somebody in the chat will know.
Yeah.
I can't get past Rip Hamilton. That was the duo there. It is crazy. Wasn't Rozier involved in some of this? And then I thought he was cleared for a minute or something, but I've just seen so many highlight videos of it all adds up now. Like, you saw some of the shots he was taking or whatever, and people are like, what the hell is this? So I think that might be more related to basketball. But yeah, the mob ties with Chauncey Billups that's intense, man.
Yeah, Terry Rozier, he was kind of doing the Michael Porter, the Jonte Porter move of like betting on unders and betting on props and then doing and then I think like you said, he did get cleared of that. Seems like he was just dead set on getting involved in some tomfoolery. But did I read correctly that Chauncey was working with an X-ray table?
Yep.
That's unreal.
Yep. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's crazy. Like, part of this is a lot to unpack, folks. So a lot of this you may just have to read on your own. But like, one of the things I saw was that this is about dealing with Tony Rozier. Before a March 23rd, 2023 game against the Pelicans, Rozier, who played for the Hornets at the time, allegedly told Laster, who's a childhood friend, that he would remove himself from the game in the first quarter due to a supposed injury. According to the indictment, Laster allegedly sold the information to two bettors for about $100,000 and said those bettors, along with their associates and a network of proxy bettors, used the info to bet on Rozier's unders. According to the indictment, the money wagered in it was in the hundreds of thousands, according to the indictment. And many of the bets won after Rozier removed himself from the game after 9 minutes with 5 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. Rozier paid for Laster to travel to Philadelphia to collect the proceeds from the scheme and then drove to Rozier's home to count the money with him. And then they said that they ended up paying out to all the people who bet on him. It's just like, I beg your pardon? Holy crap, man. Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
That's insane.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I'm wondering, you guys think this is probably going to be like the dam breaking type thing where we're going to hear more about other players, people involved? I feel like it could end up being that. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Because usually when this happens, everyone starts saying, well, they did it too. This person did it. I'll sell you this information to get me out of jail. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street thing. It's like, I'll tell you who all was involved if I get out of jail and I just blow the lid on everything. Like, man, this could be dicey.
I would imagine there are hundreds of these cases that maybe will never get solved or whatever. I don't know how you crack down on some of this, but the NBA, and I love the NBA. It really is like one of my favorite sports to follow, but the league is like designed for stuff like this with all the rest and the way that they do the load management and these guys that have these weird injuries and you just never know who's playing on a given night. You never know what the minutes restriction is going to be like. I feel like this kind of stuff has probably happened endless amounts of times. And like, I don't know if it'll all ever get uncovered, but I don't know, man. I wonder how many people do it like once a month and don't get caught.
Yeah, could be a lot. But also, I just want to read this too, because you're talking about the X-ray machine, the poker case that Chauncey Billups was involved in. They're accused of using their celebrity to lure people into playing poker games that were rigged by the mafia. The mafia allegedly used sophisticated cheating technologies, including shuffling machines that could read the cards in the deck, poker chip trays with hidden cameras, special contact lenses, and glasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards on face down on the table. This
what the hell, man? How do you get caught up in this?
I guess I guess it's like something that they were like, there's just no way they'll be able to figure this out.
I guess, or maybe nobody would believe it, because I'll tell you that if someone just told me this, I'd be like, that's stupid. That's a dumb thing. But yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a whole lot. Mr. Big Shot, by the way, was Chauncey Billups' nickname, according to the sources. But either way, there's also a defendant. I just love this stuff too, because there's a defendant that they refer to as co-conspirator 8. It's like
there's 30 of them, right? There's 30 people that are lumped into this thing, dude. This is like the type of stuff you see on The Sopranos, and you're like, there's no way this is like really happening. And this is way crazier than anything that happened on Sopranos in terms of the card games.
Yeah, well, also too, one of the things that the indictment named was a player for the Lakers. It doesn't mention the name, but it does match up to LeBron James, and so people are like, ooh. Because apparently they co-conspirators said go bet on Milwaukee tonight because a prominent player was out, and then LeBron James didn't play. So it's kind of like, uh-oh. Anyways, crazy stuff that's happening in the NBA. Can't wait to see how it all plays out. Just no respect for the game. These people, I tell you. Let's see. A few chats here. Quinn says, if I get arrested this weekend, I'll hit up Hickey and Hull. Yes, please do. Please do. And please don't get arrested first. But if you do,
especially because you'll likely be with one of us when you would be getting arrested. I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. Tell them Inside Arkansas sent you.
That's right. Let them know. and they'll be like, so what happened? Well, I was hanging out with the guys from Inside Arkansas, and I'm like, oh gosh, okay. I keep our name out of it. Let's see. Bass in the Ozarks. Trey once says, hey, Andrew, who's the best offensive baseball player on the team? Most improved offensive player on the team?
I gotta say, in terms of just best, it's gonna be hard for me to not say Kahio Aloy. Although we didn't get to see a ton of him this fall, I just think he's a pretty safe bet to do some crazy stuff. Ryder Helfrich was the best player on the team throughout fall practice. Most improved, I think it might be Reese Robinette. And Reese Robinette was pretty solid last year, and he's been good in his. We've known he can hit, but he was hitting cleanup with the starting lineup pretty much in all the exhibitions, all the scrimmages down the stretch. And that is fitting to how well he swung the bat, drew a ton of walks. Like, I don't know if Big Country is going to have like an all-American type of season, but like, I think Big Country is the type of guy that you can throw in the middle of an SEC lineup and nobody should scoff at that at all. And for a guy that wasn't in the lineup at all to start last year, I'd say he's probably the most improved among the returners. Shout out to Cam Kojal, by the way. He didn't have a great fall, but like he very well could be the best offensive player on the team.
Also, Curtis Dillon saying, I got a feeling that Baba will be a hog.
I like that feeling.
That's my favorite Black Eyed Peas song.
Which one?
I have a feeling that Baba Aluditen will be a hog.
Oh, you were supposed to sing it, but that's okay. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. We moved on.
Finch said, I didn't know if the syllables would work.
Finch said, man, I already had Chubb. Jeez, Finch. Okay. After listening to KK, Ewan, Billy, and Darius interviews, after hearing Leak 2, there is zero chance. Okay. All right. Flaccidity for me for quite some time.
Speaking of flaccidity, you know what this basketball team doesn't do? Eat flaccid chicken. And good on them. There's been the chicken head stonks from this basketball team has been crazy. A-Cuff yesterday, Leak has been on it. I guess the whole team just supports the brand there. So it's a good pub, man. Like I would be clipping that stuff and just playing it on repeat in my establishment, Yeah,
that's when you get something going on, is when you're getting the shout outs, and it's not because you have an NIL deal with them. It's just like, it's just, I've heard that a few times from them too. I was like, well, we know where they hang out and what place they like going. So
now A-Cuff's got me thinking about the catfish over there now.
I haven't had it. So
heard a lot about the wings, you know what I mean? And it's like, obviously, but he said on off days he gets the hot lemon pepper plus the catfish. So
Mhm.
grown man's meal.
May have to make a trip over there and try it ourselves. Omri says, I'm going to this game. I really want to meet Quinn and the boys. Any insight on how I can get your John Hancock Big C?
Bro wants his autograph. That's crazy.
I come find me, man. I mean, first of all, we're gonna be at Alumni Hall tomorrow, from 12 to 2, and I will be at the game. And I'm paying my hard-earned money to get in there, just like all you folks. So I won't be snobbing it on press row. So if you see me walking around, just holler.
I bought my tickets today.
I like that.
By the way,
I mean, like that, it's like it's cool that like you can just buy tickets to this thing and it will be full, I'm sure. But like, if you can sit in the lower bowl for $35.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm glad you knew which game he was talking about, because I wasn't sure if he was talking about the football or basketball game. But yes, okay. So, but basketball, yes, we'll all be there. We'll all be there.
I feel like if he's looking for my signature, it's got to be hoops, right?
I guess that would make sense. Yeah.
We'll also be at the football game. So, and that is a rarity.
50-yard lines, 2 options.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. If you need to find Curtis in basketball, just look for the people yelling to sit down because he's 8 feet tall, and people are just gonna be mad at him.
Yeah.
Look for that. Let's see. Finch just says, my Tennessee buddies have been using both of my shoulders to cry on this week. They couldn't even get through the loss of a football game before they found out about Vitello rumors. Talk about a hit. Hate to see it. See it. Yeah. I just can't wait to see how it all goes with Tennessee, but also with Vitello, because
I've seen a few Tennessee fans that have been like, man, I really hope he crushes it in San Francisco, because if he doesn't, I think I have a decent idea where he's going to end up.
Are you surprised at what they did with the interim?
Yes. It didn't make any
weird.
sense.
No, but we really want Elander to be a candidate.
Right. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. I mean, Frank Anderson's older. He's an older gentleman. But yeah, I mean, Elander, from what I can understand, has been the number 2 for a while and like been running a lot, like pretty much runs their recruiting operation, which is the best in the country. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, because my thing was, I was talking to Andrew about, I'm like, why would you say he's a candidate and then not give him the interim coaching job? But he's still a candidate. I'm like, if I was him, I'd be like, okay, well, if I'm a candidate, let me prove myself. This would be the time to do it.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
That's odd.
It'd be like when Sam Pittman got fired, they was like, Travis Williams is going to become the interim coach, but Bobby Trino's still a candidate. It's like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Well, everybody that was reporting on the situation, like Kendall Rogers, all these guys, they all were like, Elander is the guy that'll, they just assumed. They didn't know that for sure, but it's like everyone just assumed, like, oh yeah, Elander's the guy. That makes sense.
Yeah. Also, let's see. Quinn says this will be a RICO case. Okay.
It seems like it will be, honestly.
Yeah. And then he says Quinn bought the tickets. Haha.
That is why I'm going to
games.
Yeah. Football wise, yes. And then Evan says, are you guys going to be pretty delayed for post game since you'll be there?
No. I leave early.
Yeah.
To make sure I'm back to get us started pretty quickly afterwards. So
last year at this exact situation, I got pulled over on my way home from the exhibition because I was watching the exhibition on my phone, and the guy was like, "You're on your phone." I'm like, "Yeah."
Which is crazy. They have like, they don't credential us anymore anyway, but they have also like put into their media guidelines. Did you guys read all the changes, by the way? There's a lot that's changed, but it's like you cannot live stream. Nobody. You do not live stream at Bud Walton Arena. You don't do it in the press area. You don't do it on the floor. You don't do it in the seating area. It's like, you want to do that, go outside or go home. They're just very anti, I don't know, 2025 or whatever. It's crazy, man.
Technology.
Yeah, that's not just during the game. That's like after the game when everybody's cleared the floor and it's just an empty building. Still can't do it.
Yeah.
Still not allowed.
So. Everybody's working down in the media room or whatever. There's usually nobody up there on press. It would be easy, but whatever. Yeah. We'll be back home. I only live like a mile and a half away from Bud, so it's not that big of a deal.
Well, one of the few times we've for like as far as late, I'm sure it's been others, but like as I remember was staying when we stayed for the no hitter for Gage Wood. I feel like that was warranted to stay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
it led to a sprint to DJs after. Honestly, in that setup, I wish we had if we just set up an establishment right there 800 feet away from Bud Walton, that'd be sick.
Yeah. If there was an establishment. Yeah, we could just set up a Chick-fil-A across the street.
Let's just go to Five Guys.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
Join the live stream. That is tonight. It's Thursday. I've been pre-Friday and things. I'm like, what day is it again? Join the live stream this evening. Come see us at Alumni Hall tomorrow. And then make sure you tap in for the Pod at the Palace post-game show following the conclusion of tomorrow night's exhibition against Cincinnati. Those are my final thoughts.
Woo pig.
Excellent. I will echo not only Andrew's comments, but also Curtis's that, tonight, EA College Football 26, Arkansas. Remind me, guys, is it, what's the record in our game?
5-2.
5-2.
5-2.
You got back on track last week, right?
That's right. We're going to bring out Larry the bowling ball tonight if they beat a whole Auburn. Just saying. So you may see Larry come out, but it's always a lot of fun. We just hang out. We just chill. We answer questions. We have a good time and seeing the ridiculousness of the simulation. But it's going to happen tonight at 8 p.m., so be sure to tap in for that. And again, come see us at Alumni Hall tomorrow, as we'll be live there from 12 to 2. And, of course, Pod at the Palace post-game reactions happening after the Cincinnati exhibition game. We got pre-game presented by SARACEN on Saturday for football and post-game. I mean, it's going to be a hot and heavy Woo Pig weekend, as they say. But we're going to have a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone tapping in and having fun with us. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. Be sure to check out all of our audio podcasts wherever podcasts are found. And also check out our social media at Inside Arkansas. That'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon, live from Alumni Hall in Fayetteville. Have a great rest of the afternoon, folks. We'll see you then.